Hey guys, and we are back. All right, let's take a look at some of these other problems that I had you guys try, maybe a little bit on your own. Maybe you tried them, maybe you didn't, but if not, we're gonna go through them, so don't worry. Let's start with number 16. Number 16, let's look at our coefficients first. We have 36 over 12. I know that those simplify. 36 divided by 12 would give me 3. And you can always put that as a fraction in your calculator and it will simplify it for you. Next, we're gonna look at our exponents. Oh, I have x to the -4th. I have nothing below it, which means I'm not gonna subtract. In order to make that a positive, I know I need to send it to the denominator, so I'm gonna send that down. So my x to the 4th is gonna go down there and it becomes a positive. Next, I have y's. 8 minus 7 gives me 1, so I'll just have y, or y to the first up top. And that one's done. A lot of extra room there. Let's look at number 17. This would be a great one that I would put into my calculator just to see if it simplifies. So I would take 15, and then I would put it over 18 in my calculator. My calculator is telling me that it simplifies to 5 over 6. So I'm definitely going to keep that fraction. Next, let's look at our variables. A squared and a squared, 2 minus 2 is 0. Let's just think about it. Remember, whenever you have anything to the power of 0, it's 1. It's the actual number 1, not a to the first, just 1. And if you multiply 1 by anything, it stays exactly the same. So technically, these are going to cancel out. Now, let's look at our b to the 5th over b to the 3rd. 5 minus 3 would give me 2, so we have b squared. 8 minus 9 would give me -1. Uh-oh, I see a negative exponent. I take this guy and move him to the denominator in this case. I still have 5b squared on top. On the bottom, I have 6c. I don't need to write the 1, but if you did, it's the same thing. 18. If you put -4 over 8 in your calculator, it would tell you that that simplifies to -1/2. Next, I'm going to look at my exponents. So now I have p to the first and p to the second. 1 minus 2 would give me -1. So I'm going to have p to the -1 exponent. 5, here's our q's. 5 minus 2 would give me 3. So I'll have q to the 3rd power. 3 minus 10 would give me -7. So I'm going to have r to the -7th power. Now I know you see a couple negative exponents, and so do I. This p to the -1st needs to come down. This r to the -7th comes down. The other ones don't. Let's see what we got. We're still going to have the -1 over 2. Our q to the 3rd is going to stay up top, but the p to the -1st is going to go down.
Second wave students are dismissed at this time. Second wave students are dismissed.
Sorry about that. And then r to the 7th is going to be on the bottom and positive as well. Let's look at number 19. Again, when I'm not 100% sure about what the fraction would be, so I want to make sure that it would simplify. So if I put -9 as a fraction, I'm going to clear this out. -9 as a fraction over 54, it should simplify it for me. Yes, it does. It tells me it's -1/6. Now let's look at our variables. So now the r's, the base of r, 2 minus 5 would give me -3. 6 minus 2 would give me 4. And 4 minus 8 would give me -4. I see negative exponents. Let's move on. This guy's got to go down. This guy's got to go down. I'm still going to have my -1/6. I'm still going to have the s to the 4th up top. But on the bottom, I'm going to have r cubed t to the 4th power. For the bottom of this, for the mixed practice, they're going to ask you to do a lot of these things in the same problem. So we're going to go through these as well. Let's take them one at a time. The more you work with this, and even the more you make mistakes, the more you learn. And making mistakes is a huge part of math, because as soon as we learn why we made our mistake, that's how we learn how to correct that mistake. So let's start with number 20. I've got all these bases. I'm going to distribute that negative exponent to all three things in there. So I'm going to have 4 to the negative second power x. 3 times negative 2 would give me negative 6. 6 times negative 2 would give me negative 12. I'm going to bring down my plus sign there. Same thing here, distributing that negative 3. So I'm going to have that 2 to the negative third power. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Alrighty, so far so good. Next, let's notice that everything we have is going to be a negative exponent. So we're going to have to send everything into the denominator. Let's do that. And as we do it, let's simplify this. 4 squared, so I'm going to have 1 on the top here. And I'm going to send this down. 4 squared would give me 16. X to the negative 6 would become x to the 6th. Y to the negative 12 would become y to the 12th. Plus, alrighty, let's look at this guy. 2 to the negative third would give me 8. Well, 1 over 8. There we go. That x to the 6th is coming to the bottom. The y to the 12th is going to the bottom. All right, now I noticed something. It looks a little bit weird, but I still can do something here. 1/6 plus 1/8. Let me put that in my calculator. So I'm going to take...
Third wave students are dismissed at this time. Third wave students are dismissed.
So if you look at it like this, you notice that we have the same exponents and variables. So this is 1/16 x to the 6th, y to the 12th. This is 1/8 x to the 6th, y to the 12th, and we can add those together. Let's do that now. So I have 1 over 16 plus 1 over 8. That will give me 3/16. 3 over 16, and then my bases are going to stay exactly the same. So I'm still going to have my x to the 6th, the y to the 12th. Let's look at number 21. Same thing here. We're going to distribute that negative 2, and then we're going to distribute that negative 3. So we have x to the negative 4th, y to the negative 6th. Then I'll have x to the negative 15th and y to the negative 12th. Since I'm going to have to add across, let's do that first. I'll just do it in the next row. So negative 4 plus negative 15 would give me negative 19. Negative 6 plus negative 12 will give me negative 18. And since they're both negative exponents, I'm going to throw them over 1 and send them both to the denominator. So I'll have 1 on top, x to the 19th, y to the 18th. All right, give me a second. I'm going to scroll this up. (22) and 23. All right, a couple ways of doing this. I would always address the top first. Let's multiply across the top, then we'll simplify down. 6 times 5 is 30. You have the same base and you're multiplying across, so you're going to add your exponents, giving you a to the 12th. On the bottom, you're going to still have negative 12a to the 14th. Now, I can't have a negative in the denominator. So if you put that in your calculator, it's not going to work anyway. But I'm going to be smarter than my calculator. I'm just going to throw the negative in the numerator. So I'm going to put negative 30 over 12 in my calculator, and that simplifies to negative 5 over 2. A to the 12, 12 minus 14 would give me negative 2. So that's going to give me a to the negative second power. I know I can't have a negative exponent. I'm going to take this guy, send him to the denominator. Still going to have negative 5 on top, and 2a squared on the bottom. Let's look over here. All right, I've got to distribute this 2 to all 3 of those. Let me do that first. So I will have 3 squared, which would give me 9, x squared, y squared. Then I'm going to multiply that across here, so let me rewrite this. Alrighty, let's look at these numbers first, our coefficients. 9 times 2 would give me 18. X squared, x to the 4th, add those, and I'll get x to the 6th. Y squared, y to the 3rd, that's going to give me y to the 5th. Still going to have 6 on the bottom, x to the 8th, y. Almost there, we're getting there. 18 divided by 6, or if you put that in your calculator, that would give you 3 over 1. I'll just keep the 1 there so we can see the numerator and the denominator. 6 minus 8 would give me negative 2. 5 minus 1 would give me 4. I've got 1 step left. I've got to get rid of that negative exponent, so I'm going to send them to the denominator. So I'm going to have 3 y to the 4th on top, x squared on the bottom. Take a second to look over those two. Check out the next one. (24) and 25. Alrighty. First thing I'm going to do is distribute that 2 and that exponent 3 to everything inside the parentheses. So we'll have negative 6 squared, and I'll write that out. X to the 8th power to a power we multiply, y to the 12th, over negative 4 cubed, x to 3 times negative 3 gives me negative 9, 5 times 3 gives me 15. All right, not too bad so far. Let's see what that's going to give me up top. We're going to have a negative 64 on the bottom. So negative 6 squared gives me a positive 36. Negative 4 cubed gives me a negative 64. Let me double check that. Yep, negative 64. Okay. Next, let's subtract down. It's going to be a little tricky. 8 minus negative 9 would give me a positive 17. 12 minus 15 would give me a negative 3. So I'm going to have y to the negative 3rd. Before I simplify this, I'm going to throw this in my calculator. Remember, I have to be smarter than my calculator. I'm going to put the negative in the top. I'll do that now. Let's see if it simplifies for me. So I have negative 36 over 64. It gives me negative 9/16. So I have negative 9 over 16. This y to the negative 3rd needs to come down, but my x to the 17th is still on top, y to the 3rd on the bottom. Let's look at this guy. No exponents on the outside, so I'm just going to multiply across. 6 times 3 is going to give me 18. B to the 1st, B to the 5th, have the same base, and you multiply across, you add your exponents. That's b to the 6th, and this is going to be c to the 5th. On the bottom here, 5 times 2 gives me 10. B to the 5th, b to the 3rd would give me b to the 8th. C squared and c to the 6th would give me c to the 8th. And now we need to subtract down after we simplify this. So if you put 18 over 10 in your calculator, it will give you 9 over 5. 6 minus 8 would give me negative 2. 5 minus 8 will give me -3. We gotta send all that to the denominator. So on top, we're still gonna have our 9, but on the top, on the bottom, make that look like a 9. On the bottom, we're gonna have 5b squared c to the 3rd. All right, I think we're done with all of our notes. The last one is a challenge problem. So I'm gonna let you guys try that one on your own. However, if you'd like to see me go through it, I'll make an extra video and you can watch it. All right, thanks so much.